Welcome everybody to another episode of What's NXT for January 2nd, 2019. Happy New Year's everybody. Happy New Year's, Jerry.
Happy New Year, Stefan.
I am of course the Rated R reviewer Stefan Osborne, here as always with the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good evening, wrestling fans.
And we are here to review a year-in review, basically, for NXT. Because we did not get a show. We got clips and recaps and replays of pay-per-view matches.
And a
I
whole
mean, that's
crap
cool.
ton of nominations.
Yeah. And a lot of nominated superstars for this and that of the year. And we will get into all of that. But first and foremost, we got one match on this show.
Yes.
The main event. Matt Riddle versus Cassius Ohno. A rematch after the 7-second knockout. And that will be our main event. And I guarantee you there's no extra stars going into that one.
No, not really. I didn't really have any high expectations going into the match, but at the same time, the fact that it's the only match on the show, like, it's our first, like, NXT we're covering that's been 2 hours long, and we got one match out of it.
One match. So,
or one new match.
I'm not sure what I was expecting out of this show because I knew that it was going to be a bunch of nominations, and I thought it was going to be actually the announcements of the winners of the 2018 blah 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 of the year, but we didn't actually get that. And at the beginning of this show, I had low hopes, but it was about 30 minutes into this show, and I paused it for something, and I noticed there was an hour and a half left.
Yep.
And I was like, holy shit balls. This is a 2-hour show. And when I say 2 hours, I don't mean give or take a few minutes, so it's probably like hour 49. This was an hour and 59 minutes.
Yep.
And it was long, and it did not need to be. A lot of the matches that we saw from 2018 were not really replays of matches. They were like these recaps, these promo videos almost. I mean, done like cinematically, you know, with slow motion and whatnot.
A lot of high spots and great soundtrack is what it had. So,
and they were great, but they could have been shorter.
Yeah.
This whole show could have been an hour, hour and a half tops, and we wouldn't have had to sit through an hour and 45 minutes of fluff to get to one match. So I'm just going to air that grievance out right now. Really pissed off at this show.
Yeah.
Every single match that they recapped or replayed on this show, I had already seen.
Yeah.
I'm envious of this man because there was maybe one or two matches that they replayed that he has not seen. So at least they were new to him.
Yeah. The first match that we actually got out of the whole thing was the North American Championship to crown the first North American champion in that ladder match.
Great match. Great spots.
Brilliant match, like top to bottom. It made me kind of kick myself for not getting into the product sooner.
Well, they started off that replay from right before Velveteen Dream went up onto the tall ladder and did the elbow drop onto Lars Sullivan.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, this is going to be great. They're just going to get the highlights. But no, this was from there the rest of the match. And then there was a bunch of other ones that were just highlights and promo style and whatnot. But you still got most of the match, all the high spots at the very least.
Pretty much the show stealer, or for this program in general, for recaps wise and everything, was still Gargano versus Black, in my opinion. So
the thread that tied this whole 2-hour piece of shit show together was Tommaso Ciampa, Aleister Black, and Johnny Gargano.
Yes.
They talked about, showed matches therein of this story all year long.
They tried to make it more about the Undisputed Era. It felt like they tried to make them look more
at times.
Yeah, but then at the same time, like, there was just no denying how awesome that whole storyline was, and how it just blew up over summer to something even bigger.
Oh, that storyline has carried NXT for a year and a half now. Just going all the way back to where Aleister Black wasn't even in it.
Yeah.
When it was just Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. They were headlining...
That unsanctioned match was pretty awesome.
Well, they headlined a pay-per-view where they bumped the title match out of the main event. So that tells you all you need to know right there, and that goes back a fucking year. So yeah, we get the 6-man ladder match.
Anytime you can ever like put somebody in a deathlock and like also put their knee brace across their face and make them submit is a pretty awesome finish.
So I guess you're glad you saw some of this show.
Oh yeah,
because you got to see some spots that you haven't seen yet. But after the 6-man ladder match replay, I mean, basically, like I said, from the spot where Velveteen does the elbow drop on, it was the full match. And we get our first nominations for, this is Breakout Star of the Year. That's Ricochet, Dakota Kai, Lars Sullivan, Rhea Ripley, War Raiders, Lacey Evans, EC3, and Bianca Belair. 9 technically, because you've got a tag team in there.
Yeah.
9 motherfuckers. Woo! That's a loaded nomination.
It's like almost like everybody should get some sort of participation ribbon. I mean, you usually have like 5 nominations at like at any award ceremony or anything like that. That just makes it more difficult right there, man, because
they had a promo screen of everybody that got a nomination, and it was just loaded.
Yeah.
It looked like the poster for the Royal Rumble after it's now both men and women.
Yeah.
There's got to be 40 or 50 people on that fucking poster. So anyway, who are you going to vote for?
I'm going to surprise you a little bit. I'm going to say Rhea Ripley. Like nobody really had as much of a breakout year as she did. I don't think on the card. Sure, Lars Sullivan, but like he's no longer even in NXT now. So
this is an NXT thing, and Rhea Ripley had a few good matches I think on NXT. But as for breakout star of NXT,
yeah,
I love Rhea Ripley.
Yeah,
my heart says Rhea Ripley.
Yes,
but my head and what I've seen, Ricochet.
Oh yeah, well Ricochet's going to win. That's the thing. Like
no, that's who I vote for. I mean,
yeah.
From the matches that I've seen, and I've seen a lot of Lars Sullivan matches, but Ricochet is just
Ricochet.
Talking about the word breakout. I mean, he personifies the word breakout.
He perpetually steals the show on anything he's done, but like at the same time, maybe it's just the fact that he's more well established with me because I've actually seen him wrestle prior to NXT and everything, and Rhea Ripley's still fresh in my mind and brand new to me, so that could be the reason why I consider her more of a breakout than Ricochet.
That could be. So after this, we get a recap of the Gargano Ciampa match, the unsanctioned match, the first one in the series. Well, so far, I think it's been 2 or 3 matches. Anyway, just a recap of it. Promo style, promo video. It was a good match.
Yeah.
So was the recap we got of Almas versus Black at New Orleans.
Yeah.
For the NXT title. That was a great recap. Then we get a replay, actual replay of Cassius Ohno versus Matt Riddle at War Games. Of course, it was an easy replay. The whole thing lasted 90 seconds.
No, it lasted like about. Well, yeah, if you count the entrances.
Yeah, the whole thing lasted 90 seconds, so that's an easy replay to get through.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, we have nominations for the Tag Team of the Year. And we've got Lorcan and Birch. That's Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch.
Yep.
We've got the Street Profits. That's, something Ford.
Yep, it's Montez Ford.
Montez Ford.
And Angelo
Dawkins. Man, you've got a much better memory than me. I'm taking
well,
Alpha Brain.
with those two, I have a great memory because they're my favorite team here.
Well, this one's easy. We've got Heavy Machinery. That's Otis Dozovich and Tucker Knight.
Yep.
Tucker. Got Mustache Mountain. That's
Tyler Bate and Trent Seven.
There you go. Tyler Bate, Trent Seven. War Raiders. That is
Hanson and Rowe.
Hanson and Rowe. They don't have first names. And Undisputed Era. So I don't know if
actually I found out Rowe's first name is Ray. It's Ray Rowe. Ray Rowe. Ray Rowe.
That's probably why they don't use it.
No.
Call him Raymond. Raymond Rowe, and then he doesn't seem like a Viking so much. But anyway, who are you voting for?
I'm going to say Street Profits. Street Profits, I'm going to vote for till the cows come home because I love those guys. Well, basically, like we got all the tag teams in the company short of the Mighty, which.
If you're talking tag team of the year, though.
Oh, if okay, are we doing who I want to win or who?
Who are you voting for?
Well, I'm gonna vote for Street Profits.
I'm assuming this is voting.
Yeah.
Because they did not announce winners at the end of this, so I'm assuming we can go and vote.
Yeah.
I got to give it to Undisputed Era because initially my problem was: are you talking about Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole? Are you talking about Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong? Or I don't think Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish have had a match this year.
No.
I'm not positive. Although Fish might have gotten injured at the very beginning of the year. I'm not sure about that. Anyway. Doesn't matter. Any combination.
I'm about to say Freebird rule pretty much, yeah.
Any combination doesn't matter. It's got to be the Undisputed Era. They have been the best tag team all year long.
Yeah.
And that is undisputed. Just saying. Just saying. So anyway, so this is going to be you voting for the ones you like and me voting for the ones that actually like have qualified to win.
It's like you go ahead and get your losers picked out, Jerry. I'm going to go ahead and pick the winners.
Well, they may or may not win. I just feel like they're the ones that actually deserve said trophy.
Oh yeah.
In this case, it looks like it's a golden ring bell.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So, up next, we get an actual replay of Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch versus the Undisputed Era. And in this case, we're talking Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong at TakeOver Chicago for the Tag Team
Which you attended.
I was there. You can't see me at all in the match video. The match was much more entertaining on video.
With the commentary.
I guess. Or maybe it was just better audio or something, but it was not that entertaining there.
Yeah.
Just saying. That's like later on in the show we get a Bianca Belair match from that same takeover, but it was a dark match. And I'm telling him, I'm like, dude, anything you hear from the audience is piped in. Because literally there was no sound for this whole match. The only sound there was when somebody would hit the mat and you'd hear that weird spring sound. That sounds incredibly odd in a completely seated arena where nobody's making noise. So, I'm just saying. Anyway, that match, yeah, I was actually entertained this time watching it. So this was probably the one sort of newish match for me.
Well, I was about to say, like, there's also, you have to take consideration the microphones that are, like, at that point, too. How close the cameramen and everything were.
I think some of the camera angle cuts and things like that, some of the production actually helped the match along, as opposed to sitting in you know, top tier seats pretty far away. So that was fun. So I enjoyed that a little bit. Show got better, but I mean, still, hour and 45 minutes to wait for one match. Actually, hour and 47 minutes. Anyway, so up next is the nominations for Rivalry of the Year. And good God, man. Okay. Black versus Gargano. So Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano. Shayna Baszler versus Ember Moon. This is going back to the beginning of the fucking year.
Yeah.
Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. Undisputed Era versus Mustache Mountain. Velveteen Dream versus Ricochet. Gargano, Black, Ciampa, and Nikki Cross.
Yeah.
All four in the same feud.
Yeah.
Don't think that was a feud necessarily if you're going to include three dudes and Nikki Cross.
Yeah.
Just saying. And Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane. So that's 7, I think.
Yeah.
All of that for feud of the year. Okay, so who are you voting for?
Well, Gargano versus Ciampa. Simple as that. Like, that kicked off everything, really. Like, that we're seeing now in the whole rest of that feud. So, and like you said, the fact that Nikki Cross is included in that last one kind of throws a wrench in it, because if anything, it's just Ciampa, Gargano, and Black.
And if it was, I think if it was just the three of them, I would vote for that one. But in this case, the way it is, I got to agree with you, because Gargano versus Ciampa has driven NXT for the entirety of 2018. From before 2018 started till now, it is the best thing going.
It had everything going for it. You had the best friends, You had Ciampa pretty much destroy Gargano, get him almost kicked out of NXT. He got reinstated, got his rematch, got his revenge, gets taken out, comes back, and then we get the whole Gargano Black Ciampa story, and just wow, it's been nonstop since then.
Well, we could rave about that probably for another 5 minutes, but let's move on.
Yeah.
Up next, we have the nominations for Future Star of the Year. So I guess Rookie of the Year is not a thing, or maybe this separates Breakout Star and Future Star instead of Rookie.
Breakout somebody that's already really carving a niche versus somebody who's just now really coming in. So.
Very true. So this is kind of the Rookie of the Year, I guess.
Yeah.
So we've got Matt Riddle, Mia Yim, Keith Lee, The Forgotten Sons. So I guess we're including all three.
Yeah.
And Candice LeRae, Marina Shafir, and Jessamine Duke, who have had one match that they lost.
Yep.
Kona Reeves, that has had several matches in 2018, but all but one of which were before this gentleman started watching. He's like, yeah, I've seen one match.
I saw one match. He got destroyed by Keith Lee.
And yeah, that was, oh God, Keith Lee coming in was the end of Kona Reeves' push. That's tragic.
Yeah.
I was really starting to get into Kona Reeves. I was hoping he'd make something of himself, but apparently they're back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
That's not it, though. We also have Dominik Dijakovic.
Yeah.
Dijakov.
Yeah.
We have Dijakov, and we have Io Shirai.
Yeah.
And who are you voting for?
Well, I'm going to vote for Keith Lee, but chances are Matt Riddle's going to win. Even though I still don't see the guy's appeal. I really, really don't.
Future Star of the Year. The upside to all of these are about the same, except for I think one person, and it's gonna blow your mind.
Djokovic?
Jack off, man.
Dominik
Dijakovic.
I've only seen like the one match where he just got repackaged, and he was super impressive in it. But I think Keith Lee, like so far, I've seen more matches with him, and they've been really impressive. Even the one that he lost to Lars Sullivan.
Of all of the men,
yeah,
listed here, he is the first, I think, that would actually win the NXT championship.
Did I joke?
Yeah, jack off. Of all the women, I mean, I think Candice LeRae, as far as the whole year is concerned, probably should be at the top.
Yeah.
But I don't think they included enough women in this, because there's surely got to, I mean, Bianca Belair.
Yeah, Bianca Belair, this is still more or less her rookie year.
I know. I mean, she should be Rookie of the Year, honestly.
Yeah.
Above everybody else. But as far as potential, and as far as seeing somebody actually do something big next year, I got to give it to Jackoff.
Well, I kind of want to change my selection for Breakout now to Bianca, because she's still undefeated.
You go for it.
Yeah, because I was about to say, like she's got a proven track record. Granted, she gets annoying on occasion, but at the same time, and she also uses heel tactics, which usually I'm, pretty big fan of. Just she's quite unbelievable.
So you can vote for who you want. Is it who you're officially changing your vote to?
Yeah, I'm gonna change it to Bianca Belair.
Cool. So I'm gonna go with Dijakoff. Next up is, well, not really a nominees list. They did list off a few of the matches that we have seen previously on this show as potential match of the year candidates. To get a list of all of the nominees, you just got to go to WWE.com. That's basically it. They scrolled a whole bunch of pictures. I guess each picture was a different match that was nominated, and I'm like, and I think he said it just, so every match from NXT TakeOver this year?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I'm starting to wonder, it's like, okay, so we didn't get any notion of what we're going to be seeing this next week. Is next week going to be the official awards ceremony, and tonight was just the nominations?
So compare some of the matches that you saw from NXT TakeOvers on this show. Have they been replays, or just recaps, video footage, montages, whatever. How do you feel about the steel cage match now?
Oh, the steel cage match is still up there with me. And I think it's the fact that maybe, like I said, a lot of emotion went into that match naturally, and I've been watching that Gargano and Black feud since the beginning, since the summertime. So it's almost like just getting to watch almost like the Star Wars trilogy for the first time. It's one of those things where it just kind of sticks with you and it keeps on rolling. Don't get me wrong, these other matches that I saw tonight have been fantastic. But at the same time, that cage match just solidified it for me that I'm like, okay, this is going to be one of those feud for all ages, really.
Well, considering we didn't get an actual list of match nominees for Match of the Year, I wasn't going to ask you what you would vote for since you've missed most of 2018.
Yeah.
I think I've caught eight or nine months of NXT.
I was going to say
I've gotten all the pay-per-views, though.
I was going to say it anyway. I wasn't probably going to use it.
But I figured I'd use the benchmark of what we considered to be Match of the Year for NXT television, and that was the cage match. I figured I'd use that benchmark and see if any of those matches we saw swayed you. So next up, we get a replay of the aforementioned match of Bianca Belair. It was her versus Deonna Purrazzo, and of course we knew who was going to win because she's still undefeated. And it was a silent match, man.
That's really the only match that really got any hype for the takeover in Phoenix was the Bianca Belair Shayna Baszler match, because they mentioned it 2 or 3 times during the program.
Well, Bianca Belair won with her I don't know if it had been named yet, but ESTKO.
ESTKO. I like it.
It looks like a sweet move. It kind of looks like Dijakovic's move, except he ends it with a knee to the face.
Yeah.
She ends it with just a face plant, a sit-out face plant. So after that, we get a TakeOver Phoenix promo video for Black and Ciampa.
Yep.
Which I don't know if that's the only match that's announced up to this point. I'm pretty sure Baszler versus Belair is going to happen at TakeOver.
Oh, they made mention of that and the Black and Ciampa.
I wonder what's going to happen with the tag team championships. Hopefully we find out next week.
Hopefully.
So up next we get a video recap of Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano at War Games. Great match.
Superb match.
I'm sorry. Superb fucking match.
And they went ahead and put the motionless and white song voices to it, because that was like one of the themes for that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And it was just perfect.
So this is where they pick back up on the whole Black Ciampa Gargano trio feud.
Yeah.
And we get a replay of the end of the steel cage match from 2 weeks ago that we just mentioned.
Yep.
Again, great fucking 5-star match.
Terrific.
Seriously, if you haven't seen that match, go back and watch the steel cage match from 2 weeks ago. Fucking awesome.
Yes.
So, then we get the interview that we talked about during that show that you had said, or maybe it was the next show.
Yeah.
Where you talked about the interview they had with Johnny Gargano after the said cage match, where the interviewer is asking him about Tommaso Ciampa and is there any, collision here, or collusion.
She's asking, what's the deal with you two? It's like, what's the deal? The deal is I just beat Aleister Black. Not only that, but I absolved him of his sins.
Yeah, just completely delusional, just going around the question and leaves you hanging on. I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, we get a, let's see, nominations. I guess the last 2 nominations before the main event. Thank God it's on its way. First up, male competitor. They use that word specifically. Competitor, not superstar, not wrestler. Competitor of the year. Adam Cole, Pete Dunne, Andrade Cien Almas, Ricochet, Velveteen Dream, Johnny Gargano, Aleister Black, and Tommaso Ciampa. And those last 4, after they said Ricochet, I'm like, come on, dude. If the next 3 are not Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, and Aleister Black, and I'm like, oh yeah, and Velveteen Dream. Sure enough, Velveteen Dream, Johnny Gargano, Aleister Black, Tommaso Ciampa.
Yep.
Who didn't know they'd be in the mix? Who are you voting for?
I'm going to vote for Dunne.
He's NXT UK now, man.
Does it matter? It's still got the NXT product on there, and even before NXT UK came along.
Yes, this is true. But as far as Superstar of the Year, God, Johnny Gargano. I got to stick with our NXT Walk of Fame X for the year. I mean, Johnny Gargano, absolutely. He has been the center focal point of the driving feud for the entirety of the year.
Yep. I was about to say, like, it's toss up between like Dunn and Gargano at this point. I'll be torn until I actually make the selection itself.
So next is Female Competitor of the Year.
The shortest of the categories.
The shortest of the list. Not very many. Ember Moon, again, go back to the very beginning of the year. Nikki Cross, Kairi Sane, Bianca Belair, Shayna Baszler. Who you voting for?
Baszler.
Easy. So finally, we are on to the main event.
Yes.
And as soon as Matt Riddle starts to come out, I pause it. How much time do we get for this? 13 minutes from the beginning of the entrances. And I am fucking pissed. I am so pissed. And I'm getting even more pissed because this guy reminds me it's the best of 2018. They still go to announce, and I think you were looking for match of the year.
Yeah.
But we had already gotten through that. They just hadn't listed them because there's too many to list.
They just scrolled them on the side.
Yeah. But I'm like, wait a second. They haven't announced any of the winners. Oh, fuck. There's going to be like 4 or 5 minutes less of this match to make time for that at the end of the show. Not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
Okay, so we get a 6-minute match. Which was a pretty good 6-minute match. I got some notes.
I won't deny there's a lot of good striking in it.
I mean, just some trade-offs there at the beginning. Ono just looked like he was trying to knock out Matt Riddle with every blow.
Yeah.
That's just how it sounded, at least. But he hits this discus pump kick. Got a near fall out of Riddle. But Riddle comes back. He comes back with these palm strikes, and he, like, hulks up. He does this flex. And I'm just like, holy shit. He is fucking ripped. And then he comes off the ropes into a fucking bro kick from hell.
Yeah.
Kicks his fucking head off. And then Ono, now he's got him on the mat, he does a couple of double senton splashes from a standing position, which has got to hurt because Ono is just...
massive now.
He's a very large competitor. But he goes for a running senton, and he actually gets countered. And this is where he gets put in the bro mission, and Matt Riddle gets him to tap.
Yeah.
And that was the end of the match. Yeah, it happened just that fucking fast. So we got a 5 or 6 minute match, and I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, whatever. Ono's going to go to the top, and then somebody's going to come out, and they're going to hand out these fucking trophies. And no, we actually get... Ono looks sad. Like, Jerry thought at this point, Cassius Ohno's done. This is the end of his career. He's going to possibly even retire right here in front of us.
Yeah. That was my initial thought, because he had that look like, okay, I just lost to this rookie. I haven't made any headway here. I'm done. Simple as that. What else do I have left to prove? And that's kind of look he had on his face. And I'm thinking, holy shit, I think we're just seeing the end of more or less Chris Hero here. So it was kind of a somber moment. And then you had him leave the ring. But Matt Riddle extends the bro fist.
After all of this, him calling him out, him basically insulting him, attacking him from behind because he lost in 7 seconds.
Yeah.
After all of this, Matt Riddle still extends the bro fist. It's over. Respect.
Yeah.
And Cassius Ohno, at first, he denies it. You know, kind of sad looking. Starts heading back up the ramp. Stops halfway up the ramp. Looks down at the ring with purpose.
Yeah.
And he walks down to the ring. You know, he begs off Matt Riddle when he notices he's coming in. I'm just here, you know. Just give me a second. Gets in the middle of the ring. Gets down on one knee. And goes for a bro fist. And Matt Riddle falls for it.
Yes, he does.
Hook, line, and sinker. And I did for a second until I saw that when they switched cameras and they got back to looking at him, Cassius Ohno had gotten up off of one knee.
Yeah.
And Matt goes for the bro fist, and that's where Ono grabs him, and kind of that moment you're like, wait.
I thought he was gonna go for a hug.
Yeah, because it also looked like he could have been going for a hug it out.
Yeah.
But no, he
launches him into a turnbuckle post.
Yeah, launches him through the ropes into the post, shoulder first. Gets him on the outside, throws him face/shoulder first into the post on the outside. Throws him into the steps twice, and then gets him to stand up and does his discus forearm, his KO punch or whatever. Yeah. And then he finally gives him the bro fist on the limp, knocked out body of Matt Riddle.
He's stepping on his hair on the ring steps and gives him the bro fist at the same time. He says, bro.
This is a much better finish to the show than announcing all of the winners that they had predetermined.
Yeah.
I was elated at the end to discover that, we must actually get to vote on this.
Yeah.
At the same time, the last 5 or 6 minutes of this show were devoted to extending a feud that I was hoping was going to be fucking done here.
Mm-hmm.
Both participants moving on. And apparently that's not going to happen.
No.
But maybe it'll lead to a really good match at the next takeover. Best thing to hope for. I think they did what they could with 5 or 6 minutes. Like, what are they going to do with 10 or 12 or 15?
A lot of laying around on the ground and referee counting up to 10.
I'm just saying, Cassius Ohno has been in better shape. He has been able to carry himself better at a match. Yeah. And there's a few near botched spots in this match where you can really tell that he's not used to carrying around the weight that he's carrying around now. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. And we are not people to judge. We are overweight.
Oh, yes.
But we are not wrestlers.
No.
And it's not our job to go to the gym and get ourselves in better cardiovascular health.
We were in discussion about this. The fact that, like, there's some wrestlers who are just kind of built that way, that have actually built a repertoire or whatnot around it.
Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen.
Yeah, Owens is a big example of that.
But he's never looked super cut or anything like that. Like, he hasn't had this awesome from what I'm told, Chris Hero was in good ring shape.
Oh, I'll have to show you some of the old videos of him because, like, the Chris Hero that we have, even during, like, his Kings of Wrestling days with Claudio Castagnoli, now Cesaro.
Right.
Like, he's in much better shape than what he is now. That's why I said he looks like he gave up, because he also already.
Yeah, that was another thing that drew him to the conclusion that it's over.
He physically looks.
He looks like, what's the point of going to the gym? I'm almost done.
Yeah, pretty much.
But like a guy like Kevin Owens, despite the bowling ball that he carries around under his shirt.
Yep.
He has got great cardiovascular health. Like, he can go in the ring for a 30-minute match and still be running at the end.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
Yep.
Not so much for Cassius Ohno.
No.
And I don't know what they're going to do with a pay-per-view match, but I just hope it's fucking awesome and that I regret saying these words. That's all I'm hoping. I want to eat crow. So, we are at the end of the main event, and around these parts, we rate the main event of the show. Thank God, because it was the only match on the show.
Yep.
We rate it by the General's 5-star rating system. And Jerry, where do you give this main event?
This may probably be the lowest one I've actually given.
God, I hope so.
I was about to say, like, I'm going to be generous, and I'm going to give it 3. Because...
Wow, that is fucking generous.
Yes.
I'm going nowhere near 3.
Because of the aftermath, pretty much. And up until then, it was more strikes than anything else. But at the same time, it's one of those situations where I was just imagining the entire match with Chris Hero, not really in his prime, but maybe a couple years ago. Like, maybe I wouldn't be so disappointed with the match. But the aftermath of the match, that was really cool. But otherwise, hell, to probably 2 3/4, if anything.
The aftermath, for me, loses as much as it gains because it extends this feud that should be over.
Yeah.
So it gets no points there from me. The match itself, for these two, very middle of the road. And coming off of a show that was piss poor because there was nothing on it of any significance, has to lose something. Because if this is going to be the only match of the show, it should be fucking awesome.
And also the fact
as
that
an average.
And this is the first show of the year.
Oh God! Compile with that, the fact that it was 2 hours long. Jesus! By the end of this, like I was just glad it was over.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with 2.25, probably the lowest I've ever given.
Yep. I was about to say together we give it about a 5, and like a 5 out of 10. Good grief! That is more middle of the road than you really ever get from us, I think. And I think it's also the fact that it was put back at the end of a show that's more or less a recap of a whole bunch of other shows, a whole bunch of candidates for like something that wasn't even going to be announced tonight. No.
So take it from the General and the Wizard. Stay away from this episode of NXT. It was bottom of the barrel. There was nothing of consequence on this show. It was shit. It was shit. Watch the YouTube clip of the main event, and that's it.
Otherwise, you're pretty much going to be sitting here for like an hour and 54 minutes.
If you log on to WWE.com to vote for the Superstar and the Breakout Star and the Tag Team and everything of the year, they're going to list everybody that you can vote for right there. So there's no reason to watch this piece of shit 2-hour show.
No.
Oh, man, I was so disappointed it was 2 hours. Can I get that across enough? 2 hours of shit.
I know I've been begging for like a 2-hour, like NXT episode, but you did me dirty, Santa. You did me dirty.
So, with that in mind, I'm hoping that NXT UK is going to be a lot better because it's all pre-taped. There's none of this end of the year bullshit because there was only 20 episodes, whatever. So we've got that to do tomorrow, and that should be fun. And I want to plug our guest for tomorrow that'll be on the big screen here, Mr. Martin Elstone. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and we look forward to seeing all the members of the No DQ Galaxy here tomorrow, as well for the NXT party.
Yeah.
If you'd like to be on the big screen, you can contact me on Twitter. Go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. Or if you just want to go to Twitter and find me at Stephen R. Osborne, OSBORNE. The R stands for restricted. You can also find this gentleman on Twitter as well.
At No DQ General. And also on Facebook, you join my wrestling group Armbar. All caps, ARMBAR, exclamation point. Look up Mirror Stefan and we'll go ahead and let you in.
Yeah, we'll add you. No biggie.
Why not?
We won't add you as friends. We don't do that on Facebook. It's just one of those rules. One of those weird podcaster rules. I leave all my my spoilers and wrestling stuff on Twitter. That way I can stay away from it at work when I can't watch the shows live.
Yep.
So, for the General Jerry Slaughter, I am, of course, the Rated R reviewer, Stephen Osborne. We want to thank you for joining us tonight. Hopefully we'll see you next week. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow for the NXT party.
Rest in peace, Mean Gene Okerlund.
Yes, Mean Gene Okerlund. May you rest in peace. On that somber note, we'll see you NXT time.